There you go. Everybody having a good time? All right, we got some experts up here. We're going to ask some questions from them, and every once in a while, if one of you guys has a question of your own, we'll try to hear you and we'll get it asked. My name is Mike Warren from Hot Springs, Arkansas, and as you can see, we have a stellar panel here that's going to describe their activities this past week, and we're going to get them started right here with Grant. Go back here. Grant, I want you to tell the crowd about your sight fishing experience on this lake this week.
I had a pretty tough week. I mean, as far as I had probably about 50 to 75, somewhere in there. I couldn't count them, beds marked up and down the lake. And the best ones I found were upriver, and I spent most of the day up there. Well, I came back down each day with either one fish or zero fish with about an hour to go, and just filled my limit each day on bed fish down in the local area here. But yeah, I found some really good fish. It's real tough to get them in the boat because they're eating it out of aggression a lot of times just to kind of get it out of the bed. They don't want it there, and a lot of times you're just not getting a good hook in them. And I found the smaller ones were easy to get in the boat and the bigger ones weren't. So I'm sitting here today because I didn't get the big ones in the boat.
Absolutely. That's part of the problem with sight fishing. You find a lot of fish and they move on you real quick. Somebody's got to figure out a way to pig these fish and make them stay on those beds, guys. Don't you think? I think that might be a little better.
They're fishing today.
They're fishing today. There you go. There's the guys that figured it out. But right on down the line here, we've got Mark Burgess. Let's think of a question for Mark. Mark, I don't know if you sight fished this week or not, but what were some of the other patterns you established or tried to establish besides the sight fishing to back you up?
Well, I knew that sight fishing was going to be the major deal here, but with the guys we got fishing the Elite Series, I mean, they're good. I mean, if you do the math, 100 guys, 5 fish, 500 fish, they disappear real quick. So I spent a lot of time also fishing just as a backup. But what I didn't plan on was a couple cold nights, and the backup plan that I had was fishing shallow cover, shallow brush and shallow docks. And I had a real good practice just fishing, not sight fishing. But those fish that backed off, though, that backed off the beds, also backed off of that shallow cover. I mean, there was a lot of carp and sheephead swimming shallow. We all saw them. They were gone too, so it affected all the fish. So when they left, I mean, all my fish left as well, and I struggled. I ran around, caught a small limit each day, like these guys did, just buck bass on the bed.
There's another problem with the sight fishing is the weather. Something else we can't control is the weather. Boy, and those cold fronts come in, it just changes these fish up so bad, it's unbelievable. But we got to persevere, and sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Jeremy Starks, West Virginia, you may be the closest one to this lake. Maybe you know a little better than we do. Did you have any better luck out there? And if you fished this lake at any other time of the year, that might cause a little excitement.
Well, yeah, this time of year, I don't think local knowledge plays that much of a part of it. These fish can bed just about anywhere on the lake from one end to the other. I don't think there's one section that's any better than the rest of the lake. Later on in the year, when these fish get post-spawn and move out on the deeper cover, and I think some local knowledge will play in. But just like Mark had said, I felt like that cold weather just really caused those fish to leave the beds. And there's a few bucks up that those are the beds that the females actually got to spawn, and those males are still there protecting those eggs. But other than that, the fish were just gone. But today we really liable to see a big weigh-in. I think those females could be moving up, and we might see some really big bags today.
That could be happening for sure. I mean, it's 2 warm days in a row now. We got another warm day tomorrow, and everything's nice and stable. The big females are going to come up and say how do you do to the little males, and they go get it on, and maybe we get some action out of that weigh-in today. Anybody got a question out here for these pros? Now sing out. We'll try to hear you and get it asked. Yes, sir, right here in the front. We're going to fish Gunnersville week after next. So come on down and visit us at Gunnersville. You'll see some more big fish there. Our next pro in line here is Jason Williamson. He had a big tournament to start the year out at Amistad. And he won that tournament on a swim bait down there. And we've heard some ripplings of swim baits being used in this tournament, Jason. Have you heard anything about that among your friends?
Well, yeah. The first day of practice, Mike, it was real cloudy and windy, and I got quite a few bites on a swim bait. But it seemed to me as the sun come out later on in practice, the weather got kind of cold, and the wind didn't blow as much at the beginning of the tournament, so my bites got few and far between on the swim bait, so I kind of give up on it. But I know some guys still caught them on it. All of these deep, clear lakes around the country, a swim bait definitely has its place, but I should have stuck with it a little while longer, and I know one of my buddies here, he caught some on it, so that's something I kind of missed out on.
I understand. This is a completely different lake. Amistad's got a pretty good population of fish in it and a lot more cover in this lake. This is a deep, clear mountain lake. It's an absolutely beautiful lake. Absolutely beautiful place. Don't y'all think so? Yeah! so. Otherwise, you wouldn't be living here. But it is a very beautiful lake. Beautiful mountains, pretty clear water. Now we're going to talk to a guy from last time we were here. Had pretty good luck. Casey Ashley. He was a victor here last time we were here a couple of years ago, and this time he obviously didn't quite do as well, unfortunately. But let's hear from Casey and see what he might have established this week and that fell through, or what it didn't happen. And explain it to us, Casey.
Well, I'll tell you, I went out this week and I really focused on fishing, finding fish that were pre-spawn, getting ready to go on the bed. If I seen one, you know, I would mark it or try to catch it during the tournament. But I was catching my fish on a swim bait, a Z-Man swim bait, throwing it by docks. Most of the fish were suspended under the floats. You know, they'd be sitting over 10 to 12 feet of water waiting, staging to go back to spawn. Their bucks were back there cruising around. But I tell you what, when you sight fish or you know a tournament's going to be sight fishing, you have to commit yourself to the whole practice as being a sight fisherman. Never pick up a rod, and that's something that I don't have the... I just can't make myself do it. I mean, I just can't sit there and say, all right, don't even make a cast, put your trolling motor on high, and go and find as many fish as you can, and that's how you have to do it in these sight fish paddles.
I can't do it either, Casey. That 3 days of doing nothing but this right here just drives me nuts. I'm here to fish, not stand on my toes like this. But that's hard to do. Next time y'all are out there, you try to do that 3 days in a row. Just sit there and look and look and look and look. Look for any kind of movement, any kind of color difference, or any dark spot, anything. It just drives you nuts. But anyway, that's what part of the week was like this week. Are there any questions out here? Everybody felt good? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Taxes. I have a very important question. Who's smarter? Larry the Cable Guy or Jeff Foxworthy? Daniel, thank you.
Who was the funniest, Larry the Cable Guy or Jeff Foxworthy? Let's have a vote out here in the crowd. Who's the funniest?